So you write about some chaos in the White House in the campaign in your book. I was wondering how you think that played a role, if at all, in the president's handling of the shutdown and his decision to reopen the government without funding for his wall.
Well, I think that it played a role. What played a role really is the inexperience of some of the people around him in terms of developing a plan about how to operate something like this. If you're going to go into a shutdown, you need to not only have a plan on how to get in, but you need to have a plan on how to get out. And I think the president's learned that now, and I think you'll see a much different approach over the next 3 weeks than the one he had during the first 35 days of the shutdown. And so I think there's no doubt that having the best people around you with the most experience is an important thing to have.
All right, so speaking of that, a main figure in your book is Jared Kushner, who of course you're critical of. What is your reaction to the NBC News reporting that he was granted a security clearance against the advice of career security specialists?
Well, listen, no matter who you are in the White House, the granting of a security clearance is one of the most important things we can do because that determines who hears our nation's secrets. And so I would hope that nothing was done that compromises that process. And if it was, then those people who did compromise the process should have to answer for why they did so. I don't know the specifics of that situation, but I believe in the real integrity of that system and that it must be maintained no matter who you are, who you're married to, who you're related to.
You're a former prosecutor, sir. Do you agree with Roger Stone that the indictment against him vindicates him because there are no collusion charges?
No, I don't agree with Roger Stone. I think that there is a significant crimes that were laid out there. But the most important thing is that it's laid out with emails and text messages of his own creation that apparently he contradicted in sworn testimony before the Congress, and that he attempted to influence a witness to not tell the truth. That may not have anything to do with Russian collusion, but it is a crime, and we are not allowed to do that in our country. And no matter who you are, you need to be held accountable. And I believe that Roger, while he is entitled and has the presumption of innocence, this is going to be a tough indictment for him to contend with.
Why should people from our region, we cover Vermont, northern New York, and some of New Hampshire, buy your book, sir?
Listen, I think folks are really fascinated by what's going on in politics in the world today. And a lot of people, as you mentioned earlier, are a little bit concerned about it. And I think what I do is give them what they would expect from me. Someone who tells it like it is completely straightforward, knows that I'm a supporter of the president, but also willing to tell truths about what goes on in the administration that they need to know. And also gets examples of how bipartisanship can really work by talking about my years as governor with an entirely Democratic legislature for all 8 years, and yet we got a lot of stuff done. It's not impossible for the two parties to work together. So I think this will give them a look behind the curtain at things that they maybe otherwise wouldn't have known about, and also give them hope that bipartisanship can work, because for goodness sakes, it worked in a place like New Jersey. You can bet it can work in a place like Vermont and New Hampshire.
You say you're a supporter of the president, but recently you said never say never to running against him in 2020. So what are your plans?
No, that's not what I said. I said never say never for running for president again someday. But I have absolutely no intention of primarying the president in 2020. I'm 56 years old. That question was, will you ever run for president again? Not primary the president. I have no interest in doing that at this time.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification, and thank you for this time. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you, Stacey, very much.